Hi folks, this is All the Fruit. Today I want to visit one of Europe's biggest palm groves. However, I hope what is looming here in the afternoon sun of southern Spain is not the palm grove I want to visit, because this one is surrounded by a fence, a side barrier, and is full of trailers. Yeah, I think what I can see from here is rather the giant naturist campground, which I have to film around because I don't think that YouTube wants me to show naked old Germans. Today I'll have to navigate very carefully not to film any of them. And as you can see, I'm dressed in a stark contrast to those Germans. Well, on the satellite you can see that those palms are in neat and sparse rows above the trailers, and they're a little bit too tall and too straight to have grown here, so I think I know where they come from. And finally, I have arrived at Palmeral de los Toscanos. This is not a natural palm grove, and this species of palm is not even native to the area, or to Spain, or to Europe, or even to the Eastern Hemisphere. This is most probably, let me not tell you anything false, let's check the old leaves. Yes, this is definitely some species of cabbage palm, Sabal, most probably native somewhere to the Americas. Some very interesting observations. All the palms are burnt, and the ground has been flooded in not too remote times. We'll come back to those observations later. But have you ever wondered, there is some new development, some new neighborhood, new mall, new beachfront, new whatever, and then a big part of the area is being planted with beautiful tall palms, 5 meters, 10 meters, 50 meters, sometimes even 20 meters tall. Where do they come from? Well, some have been removed from old palm groves before this development was constructed. Some are imported, which just basically shifts the question to a different place. Some have been sourced somewhere else, often in nature, sometimes outright stolen, but many of them come from such palm groves. This has been planted to cultivate, those palms which will appear in some development someday. And of course you can charge a couple dozen euro for a 1 meter tall palm, but for a 20 meter tall one you can charge a couple thousand. And that's how this palm grove came to be here. Somebody planted thousands upon thousands of cabbage palms. Interestingly enough, in the middle of the palm grove there is a big empty space. I thought it would be about 100 by 200 meters, yeah. This area seems to be about 100 meters across. The other half of the palm grove is between this empty space. A couple thousand palm trees, and nothing else. As you can see, basically nothing grows under the palm trees. All the energy of the area is supposed to go into the palm trees. They grow very close together. They are supposed to grow tall and straight. They don't look too healthy. The leaves are small and not too many. I wonder why this is. Is it because of the fire? I mean, the fire must have not really killed them, but damaged them quite a lot. Also killed a lot of live leaves. You can see the old peduncles, the old burnt peduncles hanging around there. Must have been maybe over 2 years ago, because you can already see new dried leaves which wouldn't have survived the fire. Probably even most of the live leaves didn't survive the fire. I'm not so sure whether this area was flooded because there is a riverbed right next to the right next to this palm grove, or if it's being flooded periodically on purpose in order to water the palms. Also, I don't know if they were burned on purpose just to save the labor in removing all the old fronds, or if it was an accident. I guess it was rather an accident, but who knows. Well, they're being grown here for ornamental purposes, but you can use them for a lot of other purposes. You can eat them. Well, you can eat the fruits of several species of cabbage palm. However, most of the ornamental ones you can find throughout the Mediterranean don't have very great fruits. But this thing is also called cabbage palm because you can eat the palm cabbage. You can eat the big bud up there. It's very easy to obtain because the leaves have no spines. Everything is pretty soft. You basically need an axe and a couple minutes. It's so easy to do this that cabbage palms are protected in the US because it's just so easy to get a lunch out of them. Here you can see that even the older parts of the stem, the basal parts of the stem, it's not really wood, it's just a fibrous mass. I wonder if there is a lot of sago starch, or if there was a lot of sago starch. Obviously here it has been washed out. That if there was a lot of sago starch between the fibers. Are cabbage palms good for harvesting sago? Well, I was planning to harvest a few cabbage palm fruits, and I was also planning to maybe harvest a few young cabbage palms growing somewhere on the edge of the grove. Actually, at first I thought those are Washingtonias, but no, it's Washingtonias have very vicious thorns on the peduncle, on the petiole. Those have very smooth and soft petiole, so definitely not a Washingtonia, but a cabbage palm. Washingtonia is pretty invasive here in this area. That's why I expected to find a lot of young trees. So now I have to be careful not to film any of those nice guys. But here, the cabbage palm doesn't seem to be invasive at all. I cannot find a single young tree. And today, while traveling here, I found a lot of feral Washingtonias along the road. But here, apparently not a single little feral cabbage palm I can harvest. Also, I cannot see any cabbage palm that has fallen over, which I could harvest. Also, I saw in one spot, I saw a couple rotten fruits. Basically, only the seeds were left. Let me see. Cannot find them. Well, there are a couple young seedlings here. One here, another one here. But none of them seems to have grown to an edible stage. However, over there seems to be a much younger plantation. Basically, my main reason to come here was not to harvest them. Yeah, I think those are the little fruits, but they've been rotting for months. Yeah, my main reason was not to harvest them because I can do this I can do this with feral little palms pretty much on every roadside around here, and they can harvest the fruits in pretty much any park. I came here to experience if this was a pine forest or any other tree forest, I would say that's an ugly plantation where the individual trees are being made into toothpicks, basically. But since I've never seen a cabbage palm plantation of this kind, I find it impressive. I wanted to come here and see this thing. I mean, I've seen much bigger groves of oil palms or coconut palms, or even different types of date palms. I've never seen such a big industrial growth of cabbage palms. Here you can see a much younger plantation, and those are Washingtonia. See the vicious spines along the petioles? You don't want to be caught up in any of those. Actually, you can use those petioles, just remove the spines in the basal part and use this thing as a weapon. You can basically mess up your enemies big time. Also, see here, under the Washingtonias, there are literally thousands of young seedlings. Here under the cabbage palms, almost nothing. So interesting. Here they have started a second growth, but of Washingtonia, not of cabbage palm. Okay, Washingtonia fruits are also edible, and in Arizona I even saw a guy who was harvesting them in old parks and said he was making wine out of them. And I ate a lot of those fruits in America. Also, I ate a lot of cabbage palm fruits in the Canary Islands. Some of them really are tasty. Okay, this guy is not naked, but he's very close to my luggage and to my money, because I left everything behind. I left everything behind to join an old German nudist colony, and he is moving away at quite a pace. Where is my money? Where is my wallet? Well, what I want, also I have eaten Washingtonia heart of palm. It was the first heart of palm I ever harvested and ate, and it was very tasty. Okay, seems that my luggage is still there. They wanted to show something else, how soft those things are. See, looks like a massive trunk. Yeah, but if you step at it, you notice everything is wobbling around. See, it's basically just, that's normal with palm trees. The outer layer, which is not equivalent to the rind of the dicot plants. Palms are a monocot, they don't have the typical rind, but the outer layer is usually tougher than the inner one. The inner one has totally fallen apart. Yeah, sorry, it seems no fruit foraging, no heart of palm foraging around here. I should have made this little prelude to the video in some park or roadside area where I harvest a couple young palms and eat them. But I've done this in other videos, or where I harvest a couple fruits, because here the only fruits I can see are completely rotten. Yeah, but I'm sure that those fibers burn like tinder. So what do you think about this cabbage palm growth, folks? I was glad that I managed to see at least once such a growth. I would have been happier if I could have harvested something, but it's not a big deal. Tell me your thoughts about it. Tell me if you have ever harvested cabbage palm fruits or hearts. Apart from that, oh, there seems to be a woodpecker somewhere up there. Apart from that, stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful and incredibly fruit and palm-rich coastal areas of southern Spain. And of course, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.